Hey, welcome back to Composition Camp. Today's day 2, and we want to do some new exciting things here. We want to first of all explore the instruments of the orchestra. We're going to start doing that today with some of the assignments. Second of all, we want to understand something about tone color. Different instruments will create different colors that we can use to compose different styles and different sounds and all kinds of fun things like that. We want to really understand what it means to compose with a clarinet versus maybe a violin. Also, we want to start learning about vocabulary to make music. So one of the key things that has to happen with that is learning about scales. Yesterday, we learned the C pentatonic scale, and it's a really simple way to make some great melodies. Today, we're going to learn a scale that is related and super similar. It's the A minor pentatonic scale. You're going to compose a little piece for clarinet using that scale. And it actually uses the same notes, but what it changes is where we emphasize the note. Third, I want to remind you to go in and do some of those templates that I've set up for you to have fun with. One that I think is really good for today is to do the movie music template. That's just a great one. You can have a lot of fun. Watch my video on it and you'll understand how to do it and here's some examples of it. Have fun!
Here's day 2's creative challenge. And so one of the things we want to do in this camp is explore the ways different instruments can be used. One of the key things to keep in mind with instruments, first of all, is the range that they can play. Not all instruments can play every single note like on a piano. For example, a clarinet has a much smaller range, probably about an octave and a half, maybe 2 octaves for a really good player. And so we have to keep that in mind. The other thing is how that instrument sounds. And so one of the things we talk about with that is that different instruments have different tone color. A clarinet usually has a very dark, reedy sound, especially in the lower notes. When composing for different instruments, consider how this sound affects the way you might compose a melody. So today's challenge, you're going to create a melody for the clarinet using the A minor pentatonic scale. The minor sounding music is usually associated with being sad or scary. So you might want to keep that in mind, or at least it's something somber. And so here is the clarinet part. Here are the notes to use. The A, C, D, E, G, and A. And this is a minor pentatonic scale. Yesterday, in day 1, we used the major pentatonic scale. The key difference between major and minor is actually which note is emphasized more in the pentatonic scale. In this case, the A is going to be emphasized more, and then you have C, which is a skip or a third above it. In this case, a minor third. If you look back at your creative assignment yesterday, the notes are actually the same. We just emphasize C. We go C, D, E, G, A, C, emphasizing C more. This one we're going to do it in minor, so it's going to be emphasizing A more. A, C, D, E, G, A. Here's an example of a melody that I used, and I'll point a couple things out, but let's listen to it. Cool, so there's that melody, and you'll notice kind of that dark, reedy sound to it. Now another couple things that I did with this one, I added some slurs, and so you can add some slurs of your own. To do that, you go to the menu, and then in the articulation one, you hit slur after you've selected a note, and it'll add a slur, and then you can adjust from where that slur goes. Just another technique that a wind instrument would use versus maybe so it's a little different with piano, but we can still do slurs on piano. And so down here, begin your melody, try to make it 2 parts. The first part being the 4 measures, second part being the last 4 measures, and keep with the A minor pentatonic scale. To help you do that, start on A and end on A. All right, so here's Haydn's Andantino. Now, Joseph Haydn was a very famous composer in the 1700s, and he had some really famous students. One of them was, of course, Beethoven. And so we want to work on this assignment today and to work at getting used to composing in certain styles. So he was a classical composer, very proper, very prim, and we want to continue in that style. So it's important to listen to the parts that are already composed for you. Now in this composition, the first 8 measures include a 2-part melody. The same melody is then repeated in the last 8 measures. Your assignment is to add a 2-part melody in measures 10 through 16. Notice how Haydn's melody begins on beat 3. Your melody can also begin on beat 3. Also, you may choose to end on beat 1 in measure 17 right here. Now, in this composition, feel free to use steps or skips and begin and end on C. That's going to help you make it sound more finished. So what you're going to do right here or right here, start your melody. You can even start here on this measure too. I personally would start on the pickup, the beats 3 or beat 4 of the measure previous to measure 10 where you want to start your own melody. And you want it to come to a close here, and then you do a pickup again for part 2, and then you end here on beat 1. Let this one be a rest. Make sure this is a quarter note and let the rest be there, and then let the rest of the melody play again. This is a very common way. One of the things that we want to learn through our composition camp here is that you have to plan the form of your piece. Just like when you're writing a story, you kind of have the beginning, the middle, and the end. Well, same thing in composition. And this one very much so has a beginning, middle, and end. The first part where you have the notes here is the beginning. Then you're going to compose the middle, and then it repeats the melody again, and you have the end. It does end a little bit differently, where it ends on a whole note versus a quarter note the first time. One more thing on this one, make sure that you vary the rhythm up. A lot of beginning composition students, they will just go with quarter notes or half notes or something really, really simple. Notice how Haydn, he uses quarter notes, half notes, and eighth notes in his melody, and that's going to really help you to create good melodies. Also, notice where Haydn puts the eighth notes. He always puts it on beat 3 and 4 of the measure, and it leads into beat 1 of the next measure. It kind of pushes it forward and helps that melody continue forward. So have fun on this one and enjoy day 2 of composition camp.